Hello, it's Debbie Gilbert from the Business Awards show, and I'm also the founder of the Best Businesswomen Awards. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Aarti Parmar of AP Brand Communication Limited. She is a branding expert, also an award winner, but we'll talk about that later. And she is a judge for the Best Businesswomen Awards. So welcome, Aarti.
Thank you. Thank you. So excited to be here.
Oh, we're going to have a great discussion today. So, we're going to kick off talking about your business journey. So, you've had your own business for 8 years.
Mhm.
So, what took you into the world of branding and your own setting up your own business?
Yeah, gosh. Right. Rejection. Rejection brought me into my own business. As and this is how we met, right? Through networking. So when I was helping out our family business in Harpenden, and doing the sort of, marketing, communications and brand and all of that kind of branding side of things, we then got taken over by a bigger TV audio company. And I was at a bit of a crossroad, start my own business or, work with an advertising agency. And I really, really wanted to work with a London agency. But then I kept getting rejected. I kept getting rejected because I didn't have London agency experience.
Right. Okay.
So, and there was one other thing as well. I remember being in an interview and somebody sharing the role, and she was just like, as she was talking, I felt myself getting more and more and more and more pigeonholed. And I'm asking, and there was another conversation going on in my head, like, really, Artie, you want to do this day in, day in, day out, every single day? Is that really you? And I had a bit of a moment of like, oh, that isn't me, and I remember just stepping away and going away and thinking, right, my energy is everywhere. I'm trying to look for a job. I'm trying to do this, a bit of, some graphic design on the side and all of that kind of thing. And I was just like, right, okay, stop this, focus on one thing. And that's where I then start to say to myself, right, I'm going to start my own business. Started to get my website ready, and then went all out with networking. And that's how I ended up starting my business. And initially, I went out saying that I do graphic design, branding, marketing, I do everything. And I was getting a bit of everything. Some of the things I really actually didn't enjoy. People are
Mm.
like, oh, can you look after my Trustpilot account, do my email marketing? And I was like, no, not really what I want to do. But yeah, I said I'll do everything. And I just found myself kind of going around in circles, chasing another sale to invoice and like being a bit like, where is this heading? And then
Mm.
that's how I ended up sort of looking more into brand
Mhm.
and doing some brand courses. And I accidentally came across coaching and became a qualified personal performance coach. And then over time, I also became a certified brand strategist, which has now brought me into the space that I'm in as a certified brand strategist and a qualified personal performance coach, helping business owners, founders to mindfully define their brand so that they can use it with intent, joy, and impact, and not be the me business owner who was all over the place.
Mm. So when you work with a business, I mean, what's the typical process that you take them through?
Yeah. So it's really interesting, right? Because no business ever has come to me and said, Artie, I need brand strategy,
Yeah.
ever,
Okay.
right? Things that they will be coming to me for is, I don't know how to show up on social media. My marketing's such a mishmash. Everything's disconnected. There's such misalignment, even like with my team. So I work with owner managed businesses that have teams, and I also work with individuals in that sense. But the general theme is lack of clarity around the messaging, positioning, marketing, and just the whole identity as a brand. So what that actually means and how I work and what I've curated and created is a proven brand maximizer framework that I take them through. So all those years where I was messing around, faffing around, and all of that kind of thing, there wasn't a place where I could just get all of the answers. And, I went to loads of different workshops, invested in this, and now I've created and pulled all the things that actually matter
Mm.
to build a brand from the inside out. So firstly, it's really about getting clear on the fundamentals, that what I call the internal strategic fundamentals and the external strategic fundamentals, because this understanding, knowing, is what will then start to help inform the the marketing, the positioning, the initiatives, you know, the sales process, all of these kind of things, the experience your brand wants to create and provide, and the perception it wants to be, you know, it wants to create and be known for in what we know. You know, we know it's such a busy, noisy market now, right? With us all being digitally connected, it's like, how do we stand out? How do we stand out? And it isn't just by following a trend that's going on. It's about really getting clear around why, who are you as a brand? Why are you doing what you're doing? And then starting to create products, messaging, positioning, and all of those kind of things around that. So it becomes very intentional, this journey.
Yeah, so it's more than just a logo, isn't it? I mean, come on.
Oh,
I bet you
yeah.
get people that say that to you all
Oh
the
my God,
time.
Debbie, I cannot tell you, you know, even now, like even now when there has been more, you know, more education around it, but it still does surprise me when I've got on a call and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm so stressed about my logo and my color palette. And I'm like, what does your brand actually stand for? You know, how are you attracting clients? What are you saying to them? How do you outmaneuver competition? They're like, oh, don't really know about that.
Yeah.
But I'm stressed about my color palette, you know, that like,
So true.
honestly, don't be stressed about your color palette. Be stressed about understanding your brand, you know, your strategy, your fundamentals, because that will help to inform your color palette and the energy and the personality and stuff, because you know that will then just evoke all of the style and the look and feel and all of that side of things.
Start with that first, is what you're saying. That's what I'm hearing from you. And do
Mm.
you work like for a whole day or a whole week or a whole year? I mean, what's your how long do you work with people with?
Yeah, well, you know what? Brand building is an ongoing journey.
That's interesting.
This is the misconception that people have, that, you know, oh, once I've done this, that's it, it's done. I don't need to do anything else. No, it actually, the journey starts with me, doesn't finish with me. But the good thing is, now that it started with me, you have all of these key fundamentals. It's just like, you know, when you're building a house,
Mm,
if you have strong, solid foundations, whatever you build on top is always going to be strong and solid. And you can then change the interiors, you know, in
mm,
it and that side of things. But having those strong foundations will keep it strong and solid.
mm.
So similarly with the business, you know, it is about starting with those brand foundations.
Great advice. So that sort of leads me to talk more in depth about, you know, your brand and your positioning in the market. So I think you have really positioned yourself as an expert, quoted in Forbes, only just hot off the press, in an article that Richard Branson and Oprah Winfrey were already also quoted, which
I
I think
know,
is
it's still
amazing.
landing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Um, but you also are an advisor for Enterprise Nation.
Yep,
So
yep.
talk us a little bit through that, because I think that's quite interesting. And I've seen you speak at one of their events, and I thought you were excellent. And you've also spoken at one of my events too. So how did that come about? Talk us through that.
How did that come about? It's a really good question. So, this is the power of brand, actually,
Yes.
and social media and building meaningful relationships. Enterprise Nation actually came about because of somebody that I was in the coaching academy with when I was doing my coaching qualification. So I know, I think you may know him, Simon Alexander Wrong. So we had a connection through that. He knew what I was doing. He was already part of Enterprise Nation. He put my name forward for that. And you know, it's the power of relationships. It's the power of leveraging relationships, and also that trust and credibility, right? So
Mm,
that whole referral side of things, it's when someone else is referring you and they've already got a credible reputation, it holds value, it holds weight. That doesn't mean that, you know, I just simply got my foot in the door.
no.
No, I still had to go through, you know, having a conversation with them, emailing them what I would talk about and all of that kind of thing. And in terms of being an Enterprise Nation advisor, it's what drew me to that is I was that person, you know, at my early stages and stuff, feeling lost and all of that kind of thing. So I thought, yeah, you know, why not put myself there, and be able to offer some sort of, mentoring advice and stuff like that. It doesn't take a huge amount of my time, that kind of thing. And I do that even outside of that
Mm.
advisor role. So yeah, that's how that one came about.
And then you went on to win an award with them, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was in the brand and marketing category.
Yeah.
Um, and it was, I really admire what Emma Jones has created with Enterprise Nation. So again, going for that awards evening and then having your name called out, and I was up against some awesome brand, people who are already making such a big mark. And, I went there with, I don't really care if I win or lose, but I'm just being in that space with those
Yeah.
people and meeting them in person and meeting Emma Jones. And I was just like, I'm just glad to be there. And then actually have my name called out, and her present that award. So yeah, it meant so much.
Yeah, that's a really nice accolade.
Mm.
So your first foray into awards was you were a finalist for the Best Businesswomen Awards
Yes.
quite a number of years ago now, quite a
Yeah,
long time ago,
yeah.
probably back in 2016, 2017. Um, what was your thought process about entering awards as an early stage entrepreneur?
Yeah, I was so scared. And in fact, I think I'd seen it before and I didn't enter.
Mm,
And I accompanied somebody else to a different awards evening, and that inspired me. I was just like, oh, there's all these room of other solopreneurs, and they're doing this, and I was just like, I can do that. I could put myself in for this award. So initially I was like, no, I won't put myself forward. Being in the room inspired me, and I thought, do you know what? I am going to enter the best business. And you had like the way it had been promoted and stuff like that. And I was just like, I was kind of visualizing like, I can see myself there, that thing. So it
that's
was
good.
beautifully done. And then yeah, I entered, and at that time it was physical entry.
Entries, it was.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
And
it
and I
was.
don't I don't know if I ever told you this, but my the way I went through this process, first I was just like, I found a place that I wanted it to be a book
Yeah,
uh style, not just like,
yeah,
here you go, here's a Word document kind of thing.
yeah.
So I found a producer of that, and they were based in US, and
Oh,
that kind of
wow.
then, yeah. And then I worked backwards from there. Right, okay, they need this amount of time to produce it and that kind of thing. Um, so yeah, that's how I worked, and then went through all the questions and got it all done, designed, and obviously my background was in design, right? So I
Yes.
designed it. I went and got on calls with my clients at that time, got testimonials, writing it down so it's literally their words, in that sense,
Yeah.
had their pictures and all of that kind of thing. So yeah, it was I really kind of thought out my entry. But yeah, that was my sort of first taste of it.
And then you went on last year to win a She Inspires Award.
It's the She Awards. Yes.
She Awards. So
Yeah.
talk us through those ones and tell us more about those awards. They
Yeah.
sound very glamorous.
Yeah, it was amazing. I got nominated, and then I got an email from them saying that we need you to fill out certain
Hmm.
information. And then there was questions, and we had a word count. So again, me being me, and you could put in the evidence and that kind of thing. So, and I think a lot of people miss this really. I say a secret sauce, but it's not really a secret sauce. But it's they missed this out. Although the award entry account numbers was 500, I can't remember, something like that. But that doesn't mean and then you could put evidence in. So I was really loading the evidence side
Mm.
of things. And I remember when, after getting announced as a winner, one of the judges came up to me and she was just like, I've never seen an award entry like this. You clearly really thought about it. And it is about piecing this information, and it is going back as well. With me, I've done my sort of those boost your brand challenges. I've done boost your brand workshops. I've done the sort of advice and mentoring and all of these different things. And I think it's important not to forget that and just not think, oh, well, you know, that's what I did ages ago. Actually, no, piece it all together, because
Mm,
this is the credibility, the evidence,
mm.
the reputation piece of why you.
But do you think being a judge at the Best Businesswomen Awards and seeing those entries on the other side, and we'll talk about some of that in a minute, had helped you with your own award entry? Do you think that was a massive
Yeah.
factor?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, it just drums in the
Yeah.
importance of having clear, concise, solid information. Yeah, absolutely.
So you came on board as a judge. So for context, we knew each other through through networking really in the St Albans area, and then we ended up in the same networking group called Sister Snog for some
Thank
years,
you.
and we invite people onto our judging panel. So we don't. There are some awards out there that you can buy a place on a judging panel, but we actually, take very great care about who comes onto our judging panel. And we knew we had a gap really for somebody who had an expert eye over the branding side of businesses, because I believe that you need a broad range of skills on your judging panel,
Mm,
just so that you've got that extra eyes on all of this, all these different aspects of running a business. So I approached you because, I mean, you had, in my opinion, I had seen a meteoric rise in your, credibility in the marketplace and the number of people you were helping. And, you were out there doing speaking and your profile had been massively raised.
mm.
And you accepted. So you came on 2 years ago now. This will be your third
Yeah,
year
this
this
will
year.
be the third year. Absolutely. By the way, Debbie, this does sort of sit in the, you know, near the Forbes thing, simply because
Yes.
I tell you why this is, because I know you know thousands of women, you know,
Yeah.
in your what, 20 years of network,
27. Yeah,
27 years
27
of
years this
networking.
year. Yeah.
Honestly, when you said, you know, you invited me for this, I felt so honored, because I know
Oh,
people you know, and it
yeah.
meant so much. So yeah, no, I really appreciated that.
Well, we look for people who we know have got a good eye for detail as well. And I knew that you had an eye for detail. Um, and people that we knew would be fair, because actually that's quite important, and aren't ego driven themselves, because there are a lot of business owners out there who have huge egos, and actually they're quite hard to contain on a judging panel. So I wanted people that would have a balanced view, and that's what we need, is somebody who's going to have a balanced view. So, what was it like stepping into the judging shoes, having entered awards yourself and obviously supported entrepreneurs from the ground up? What was it like being a judge?
Yeah. Okay, so what I want to actually firstly start off with, um, you know, because I've entered awards and I haven't been the winner, or I've been a finalist, runner up, whatever, you know, in that sense. It was only probably since, well, no, actually, one thing was, you know, when you are that finalist and your name isn't called out as a winner, you honestly, yeah, you know, you feel like, oh my God, the floor just gobble me up right now, kind of thing. You know, you're all excited thinking, oh, it could be me, and that kind of thing. And when you know that doesn't happen, it is a bit like, just eat me up right now. But a couple of things here. I remember, I think I expressed like, I felt a bit sad and whatever. And you, there was one thing you said to me. You were like, Artie, firstly, the categories you've entered have the most entries in that.
Mm,
That was one. Two, the fact that you've even got to
yeah,
find the
which
list,
was, it
that
was.
massive, right? Three, when I became a judge, I was actually like, pat yourself on the back for becoming a finalist, because now I'm seeing it from the
Mm,
other side, right? And
mm,
I, you know, the process that you have in place, it's brilliant. And I can, you know, honestly say, becoming that finalist, becoming shortlisted, that's a huge win. I
it is.
take it a couple of steps back. Even submitting it through your process is already a win, because that to me is already like a mini brand discovery session.
It
right?
is.
Because
It
you are
is.
going inwardly in you know,
Mm,
in that sense. And the fact that if you can go in and articulate all of these questions that you ask in a very clear, concise way, the fact that if you can go in and answer those, that already is it's a win.
mm,
Then too, this whole process that you have in place, you know, like I said, I've entered other stuff and whatever, and I've never seen something so meticulous and so fair.
mm,
Um, and like I said, it just really elevated me in that sense to think, right, actually, the fact that you can even, you know, got to this is a great win. And I love the fact that, you know, you say silver and gold uh,
mm.
winners.
Yeah, because in my view, if you get to the final, I mean, we changed this a few years ago from, and it actually, I think it was the pandemic that spurred me to change it. And I'd been toying with the idea before the pandemic. And because on the pandemic year, we had to run this final online. And it just felt right to go, do you know what? You've got this far. Let's say that if you are a finalist, you are going to win either a silver or a gold award. So the silvers go to technically what used to be the finalists. And then in those days, you got a certificate and you did get recognition, but let's step it up a gear because I see far more people don't get through than do. So therefore, there has to be an element of recognition there, surely, you
Mm.
know. And no other awards do that currently. Let's hope that I change that because I'd like to see it change. Because I recently I've been to two awards actually recently. One a fairly local county awards with somebody who did actually win her category. But I noticed that all the finalists that night did not get a certificate. They did not get any recognition. They were not called up on stage for a photograph. They had their name put up on the screen, but that was it. And then I went to another awards. Again, I won't name them. But again, they did nothing to recognise anybody else apart from the winners. And I sort of come away from those events feeling for those people who
Mm.
have spent time with their entry, been selected, they've spent money on a ticket, they've spent their time getting to a venue, and to not get any recognition to me just doesn't feel right. Because you know, Aarti, the level of entries and the kind of work that goes into an entry
Yeah.
is significant, isn't it?
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And I think you nailed it in terms of, you know, getting the recognition.
Mm,
Because having that experience on the evening and the pictures and, you know, highlighting people and then being able to use that on their
yeah.
digital platforms, I can honestly say, you know, even though when I've announced as the finalist, that kind of thing, I people in their mind have been already, they've just said, "Oh, you're winning awards again," kind of thing.
Yes.
Like, no, it was I've become a finalist, but in their mind, you are a, you know, there is this
Yeah.
element, oh, you're winning awards again, that kind of thing. So that recognition really can play a beautiful and important role, especially if you're so if you understand your brand and you know the impact that you want to make with it. This is a great way of continuing to sort of elevate that
Yeah.
recognition and reputation.
Yeah. So it links really well with your branding because if you can say, we stand for this and we've now won an award for this, or we've been a silver
Mm.
winner or a finalist, it does help elevate your brand, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what I call it's the transference of trust.
Yeah.
Ultimately, what everybody, consumers, clients, patient, whatever, you know, we buy from emotion,
Yeah.
and emotion ultimately we're buying from when we feel trust. So what that transference of trust is a variety of things that businesses need to do in order to transfer that trust. And some of this is, you know, when you enter awards, you build credibility, you build trust, you build visibility in that sense as well. So all of these are like little okay, trust, you know, and then it's transference of trust. And
Mm.
then obviously there's other initiatives one can do as well. So yeah, it's just it's a no-brainer, especially when you know who you are
Yeah.
as a brand, as a business. You've got a vision, you know, you've got your purpose and mission. And this is what I love about reading the entries that have come, you know, through Best Business Women Awards. My goodness, mind-blowing, you know, with
Yeah.
some of these like heart-warming, heart-touching, and I'm like, wow, these entries are brilliant. And you can really clearly see the difference
Yeah.
between, you know, the ones that are sort of really brand building and they've got a clear vision and mission that they're working towards. That comes through. That really comes through.
So that was one of the questions I was going to ask you, actually. What do you look for in an award entry that's going to do well in terms of your scoring?
Well, firstly, obviously, is are they answering the question?
Yeah.
You know, I think the first time I did this, I remember calling you up and I was just like, Debbie, but this person's answered in question 4 instead of question 1. And you were
Yeah.
like, what? No, stick with the question. It's the scoring system. It's there for a reason. And, you know, I
Yeah.
really felt it because it was just like, oh, but the answer's there. But that's what I love about this.
Yeah.
You know, it's fair, it's clear, all of that. So one is, have they actually answered the question? Two is, articulating the journey and the mission and the purpose, vision, all of those kind of things. And you know, you can really sense the genuinity, authenticity of how they're living. That one, if they have really core brand values and how that is being lived throughout. And I can see those through the questions,
Mm.
kind of choice of words that are being used, the evidence that's provided. I link all of that together, you know, so it's not just this is a product and service that we sell.
Yeah.
No, much more. You know,
Yeah.
because I'm, you know, I'm on a mission or vision, is to, you know, to create a global movement of aspiring legacy leaders. And I see who these legacy leaders are in these entries, simply because of what their passion, their belief, and their conviction behind
So you want
words,
that to
what
come
they're
across.
sharing.
That's what you're
Yeah,
looking for.
absolutely.
And what sort of things do you hate to see in an award entry? I always ask this.
Oh goodness, it's the, when somebody else has filled it out for them. There's nothing wrong with somebody else filling it out for them, but when it's literally copied and pasted from
On the
a
website.
website, or you know, there's no real thought and
Mm.
essence and ethos being put into that. I can pick that up. You know that somebody's been told to do this because it's just something that, you know, it gets off the list.
Yeah.
The ones that are really, you can feel their passion and conviction
Mm.
in that. So that would be one of the things that's just like, oh, just take this time to do this. This is your business. It's
Mm.
your VAs, or you know, that kind of thing.
Mm.
Take that time to do it, and I can see that clearly as well.
And evidence, we talk about this all the time. And, judges should not be tasked with trying to find out the information to back up what you're saying in your entry. So, from your perspective, how do you like them to present the evidence in their entry?
Yeah, just make it clear, keep it in one place, not like
Mm.
10 different links here,
Mm.
there, you know. If you can create that one, even if it is one landing page, you know, with a simple link, or PDF, that kind of thing, put it all in one place and just make it really clear. These are the testimonials. This is, you know, how this transformation happened from this to this to this. Just make it really, really clear. Put yourself, I guess, in the judge's shoes, knowing that they're going to be looking at so many different entries. How can I make this as easy as possible, as digestible as possible, as believable as
Mm.
possible, in a short and succinct way?
Yeah, because we do get some overinflated claims, don't we, sometimes on our
Mm.
entries, and figures that don't quite add up and make sense.
Yeah,
We've
yeah. I've been
we've
left
had a
with
lot.
question marks before. I'm like,
Yeah,
have I missed something here? And I keep going back and forth.
yeah,
I'm like, no, they've just haven't put
not
it
put it in correctly. So
in.
I think that's your takeaway for today. If you're listening to this episode and you're thinking of entering awards, is make it really simple for the judges to understand, and really give them some robust evidence that will help them pick you as the winner of that category.
Yeah.
Um, because, you know, it's not all about how much money you've made. That's obviously you've got to be making some money, because otherwise you've got a very expensive hobby or
Mhm.
business. But realistically, you're looking at the other things these businesses do, aren't you? Like how they've built their brand, what they're doing with their customers, aren't you? It's all the
Yeah.
added extras.
Yeah, that customer service and the USP as well.
Yeah,
When they're really clear on that,
yeah.
that's something that really stands out. And again, when it's said with so much conviction and passion, you know that they believe it so much, and they're on this journey. That's something that I also definitely look out for.
So what's the future plans this year for your business? Let's talk a bit about that.
Yeah, I've got some exciting stuff actually. A variety of different things. Because as you know, I've always mainly worked one-to-one with
Hmm.
either individuals or various size businesses. So I've just actually launched a group program, a 6-week group program,
Mm.
Brand Maximizer. So it's for the solopreneur business, been in business minimum 2 years and are service-based businesses. So that's just gone out. We've already run one Amplify event. So that was a collaboration event. Got another one coming up on 5th of July. So that's a 1-day brand immersion day where we work on brand beliefs and visibility. So
Mhm.
it's a nice sort of combination of all of those things coming together to awaken your the power of your emotional power of your brand, and then also working on beliefs as business owners. There is always this sort of thing: am I good enough? Do I have the confidence? That kind of thing. And then the practical side of getting visible with that. And then yeah, just more speaking and stuff like that. So, and there is another collaboration up my sleeve, but I can't say much about it right now. But yeah, once that's more pieced together. But me, it's also a little bit in the sort of mindfulness side of things. So brand and mindfulness coming together as well.
Brilliant. And obviously judging the best businesswomen.
And judging the Best Business Women Awards, of course. And that's honestly, it's such an uplifting and inspiring experience. And then the whole evening itself, that's so much fun. We had so much fun last year. Yeah, it really is a feel good. You've done a brilliant job of piecing it together, being part of it for a couple of years now. I don't think people understand what goes on behind, really understand what goes on behind
Behind the
the scenes. And
scenes.
obviously, I've had conversations with you and I'm like, wow, hats off to Debbie, and to be doing this for what, nearly 10 years now?
10 years. Yeah.
10
It'll be our
years?
10th birthday
And
this year.
yeah. And I've seen the journey of it, how it's refined and improved and evolved over time. And honestly, Debbie, hats off to you, because to get it to this level, and with all the back end stuff that you do, you've got the judges, you've got this, putting the masterclasses together, doing the podcast, creating educational information so people can actually, do their awards well. You're giving them the answers to do it well.
Exactly.
All of this, there's lots of things that you're piecing together to celebrate and champion women, and that's so beautiful. It
Oh,
really is. And I really
thank you.
appreciate you for doing this, because the number of women who I've spoken to and who have attended, and they're like, oh my God, what this has done for me, and then the
Mm,
publicity after. And then I always also say to, whether you're runner up, winner, it's then what you do with that as well.
mm.
And getting that out in your newsletters, your socials, publications, getting PR on it and stuff like that, that's been quite monumental for me, because that's helped to
Mm.
honestly say that's opened other doors for me as well.
Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? Awards is just those doors that open. And I mean, that's what I'm particularly proud of is, having just watched The Apprentice, and the lovely Raj was one of our silver winners 2 years ago, seeing Aisha Nayar on Rip Off Britain, seeing people like Julianne Poonen being interviewed about allergies on BBC Breakfast. And I'm not saying it's just the awards that make that difference, but they definitely help, because they add to your credibility as a businesswoman. we had a little chat before we came on to record the podcast about Asian women, and we would love to see more Asian women entering our awards. You know, we try and be, you know, appeal to every single ethnic group as much as we can, but we touched about the fact that maybe a lot of Asian women don't feel like they want to step up. What do you think about that, Aarti?
I think more and more now they are
Mm,
starting to well, it's happening. It is happening, but I think there is this, there's another layer of who me, you know, but in my culture we might not, that drive of it isn't always there, or it's been suppressed in
suppressed.
one
Yeah.
way or another. The beautiful thing is, when I now am on my socials, I am seeing more and more South Asian women,
Mm,
being in the limelight, sharing their voice, doing their thing. And, it really, really does make me really happy. And do you know what, Debbie? I've even had Asian women message me separately and saying, and even Asian men saying, loving seeing an Indian woman being selected as a judge and doing what you're doing and raising the profile
profile.
for our
Mm,
culture and that kind of thing. I've never have I seen it, I probably haven't seen, I'm just me doing me.
yeah.
The fact that when I get these kind of messages, oh, I'm so inspired that, and it, because I probably didn't have somebody representing what I'm around and that, culturally and all of that kind of thing when I was doing my thing in my early days.
Yeah.
So if I can be that for somebody else, knowingly or unknowingly, that, I'll be happy with that in that sense. And, why I then will say more, yes to these kind of opportunities as well.
Yeah. I think you're a real inspiration to women generally, but also for women who, you know, culturally maybe are still battling with, you know, being seen above the parapet, as it were, which I think is amazing. And that's what I love about you. So, what a great place to end our conversation, really. Inspirational. And if somebody is looking to really reconsider their business and where it's at, we will make sure that Aarti's details are in the show notes for today's podcast so you can contact her. And as she's already alluded to, there are a number of ways that you can work with her, from group programs to one-off days to one-on-one as well. So, you know, your business starts with that. That's the foundation. So if you are feeling that you didn't quite get the foundation right in the first place, it's not too late to sort it all out now
And actually,
and
that's
work
the
towards it.
majority of businesses I work with. They're the ones that who I end up, the established businesses who, I end up working back and week. And there's nothing wrong about going back to your fundamentals and revisiting, rediscovering. I'm working with a client right now. They've been in business 27 years.
Oh, wow.
We've gone back to, because
Yeah.
technology is evolving,
Yeah.
markets evolving, industries evolving. We are evolving as human beings,
Yeah.
and so it's important, in fact, to go back
Yeah.
and rediscover your brand in that sense as well.
Yeah. You're so right. You're so right. That's a massive tip, actually. Um, so yeah, thank you for joining me today. And thank you for giving up your time to do the judging, because it is no mean feat. It is quite a lot of work and quite a few hours goes into it. And
Oh
we are
yes,
really grateful for your
yeah. No, I
support.
agree. I
So
love it.
thank
Like I
you.
say, a brand is a vehicle to serve, grow, and impact. So you're doing that, why, and so are all these amazing other women as well. So I love being part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Aarti. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Take care. Thank you.